Now, in continuing with events we were discussing in 1915 and 16 in the Western Front of World War I, the Germans were once again trying to figure out a way to take back the initiative. Things were not going so well. And the German High Command was thinking that the Russians would probably fall out of the war soon because of internal strife. Nothing to do with the Bolshevik Revolution. That was a good year or two off. London was still sitting cozy in Switzerland. There were so many worker strikes and so many problems going on. They couldn't keep their men supplied. Every problem that could have happened was happening on the Eastern Front. For example, give you this example. You've seen the movie Enemy at the Gates with Jude Law. In the very beginning, it shows a situation where the troops are going into Stalingrad in 1942. One's given a pistol, one's given a clip. And they're told, when this man falls, you take the gun and shoot. That wasn't necessarily true in the Second World War, but that was extremely true during the First World War. Nothing was organized. Everything was a mess. They thought for sure Russia was going to fall apart. And so the German High Command decided to take another step to try to, as the phrase goes, bleed France white. They wanted to knock the French out because they figured if they can knock the French out in one big major push, and also they'd be able to knock the British out by unrestricted submarine warfare, that would effectively starve Britain. They had thought all these different ways to win the war. And so they chose for their target an old French fort by the name of Verdun. Now that's between Reims and Strasbourg, close to the Luxembourg border. It militarily had no significance to it. But the thing is, what it was is where it was in the French psyche. Now, that fort was built during the times when France was still Gaul and it was part of the Roman Empire. And that fortress had been there as a major defensive position ever since. And like during the Franco-Prussian War, it also was another place that was attacked heavily. So it was not so much its significance militarily as much as he was trying to break the French will to fight. And so they would arrange maneuvering where they would shell the city tremendously, and they would wind up sending over 1 million German troops against 200,000 French troops. And in the early stages of the battle in February 1916, there were over 100,000 shells dropped into the city of Verdun every single hour. That is how heavy the bombardment was. You had entire regiments that were completely buried under, debris from the cannon fire. So this was Germany's plan to knock France out of the war. We'll discuss that in greater detail coming up.